Welcome to Twisted Monday. Gonna do something a bit odd this time out, and just straight up cheat with Mr. Grimm. Because we played Twisted Metal 2 with Mr. Grimm before. Didn't go well in the slightest, so I'm gonna get a little revenge and make up for Mr. Grimm's greatest shortcoming, the fact that his special regenerates unbelievably slowly. That's going to be a thing of the past because I have granted myself infinite specials. Nothing but specials. I have made myself unable to use anything but specials for the entirety of this run. Now at first, this is going to be laughably trivial. Having unlimited Mr. Grimm specials puts me at a power level that simply should not be accessible this early in the game. I'm just gonna spray these all over the place. It's Special Agent Grimm, I'm calling it. And yeah, we're gonna hopefully wipe the floor with most of this game. But it's not entirely easy. And for the record, I have completely disabled L1, R1, and R2, so I can't even use the machine gun. And I legitimately cannot switch weapons. So I can't even, like, accidentally mess up this challenge. Ready to go. Now, the shape of this first level is kind of obnoxious for lining up shots cleanly. But the AI tends to not be very into self-preservation, we'll say. I also had to do this with Game Shark cheats instead of just in-game cheats, because the unlimited ammo cheat in this game also gives you unlimited turbo and unlimited energy, meaning I could just spend the entire game invincible. And that would be a little unfair. It would kind of ruin the spirit of the challenge. So I briefly considered allowing myself to use the in-game cheats and then just not allowing myself to use energy moves. But I do want to be able to freeze people because we're basically experiencing the joy of being AI controlled in this game. Constant special spam and free shots. Not unlimited free shots. Maybe I should have given myself unlimited energy and just used free shots nonstop. But this is probably the ideal way to be Special Agent Grimm. After much consideration, frankly, too much consideration on my part. Just really want to hear that sound effect, that dramatic sting, every time I hurl one of these giant skulls. And really the strategy is you hit once, the enemy is probably dead. But hitting that once isn't always easy. It is with the free shot, though. While I was practicing for this, I killed Axel at a very specific moment. I might be able to recreate if I'm careful. Nah. I blew him up while he was spamming his special. And the shockwave around him also exploded while his vehicle was exploding. I thought that was pretty funny. Not gonna be able to show it off here, though. Maybe eventually. He uses that special a whole lot. Here's another level with a lot of curved surfaces, which we don't like to see as Mr. Grimm. Good thing I permitted myself to use free shots there. Or else I probably would have been hit with Thumper's lightsaber. Now, for things to actually get a little bit challenging in Paris. But really, it's the final 3 levels that make this an actual challenge. The only pickups we need are health refills and turbos, which is really nice. I mean, one of the biggest issues with the design of this game is the lack of availability for pickups and the extremely slow regeneration rate for a lot of stuff. And hell yeah, a much appreciated subscription renewal for 14 months. I can't believe this channel's even been around for 14 months. Thank you so much, Ravenlock. Thumper, you stay up there. Keep that lightsaber to yourself. Ideally, you want a lot of enemies to just start on the rooftops, because they often will not drive themselves down for whatever reason. And then you can just safely eliminate the others. I find isolation to be a necessary part of the strategy here. Twister much faster than I am, apparently. Easily caught up to me. That was pretty cool, though. Use the mini-map to tell exactly when she was going to descend. Or I'm thinking of Thumper here. She didn't descend, she just crossed paths with me. I got the exact moment when he passed by the intersection. Oh, bad guys. That was a bit lucky. I might could have died there. I got the exact distance away for the wave sign form to go directly over my head on what would have been a possibly lethal Sweet Tooth special. Firewalk is also not a joke. The shape of this level is atrocious. I hate it. Even during regular runs that make sense. Now we have to aim while going over all these curves and stuff. Weapon base full. We do get to immediately blow up everything we want to, as far as environmental destructibles. It's kind of nice. Those statues normally have way too much health. They're acting as human shields for one another. Successfully saved Outlaw in the process, and Outlaw is maybe the biggest issue with this entire run. Outlaw's area of attack is gigantic with the taser. Meaning we have to line up shots from a super long distance. Or successfully freeze her. But free shot homing is not the best. Leaves a lot to be desired. If you miss your free shot, you're good and dead. More than anything, though, this is to tide over Twisted Metal 2 fans. Until I get around to speedrunning it. Who knows when that'll be. Because, I mean, I've done runs with every character in the game. Grasshopper with Yeehaws only would indeed be a catastrophe. And in my overthinking of this whole thing, I did consider what other vehicles might be entertaining to play through an entire run with only their specials. And really, it's mostly just Mr. Grimm. But the cool thing is, Mr. Grimm appears in every single game with a similar special in every single game. So this same challenge could be done throughout the entire series. There is seemingly an exception, but nope, even 2012. It is possible to use a Reaper as though it were Mr. Grimm, because it essentially is. I even use them interchangeably in my own brain. Use Reaper and have unlimited specials. The unlimited part is not actually a necessary part of the challenge, if we're being honest. It's only required to make it bearable. Because otherwise I would launch one special and then I would drive around for like a minute. The special regen rate in this game for Mr. Grimm is vulgar. Utterly unacceptable. Twister was right underneath me. As always. Twister's another one who will cause problems on purpose for this whole concept. This is more of a mid-range thing, if we're lucky, which gives fast vehicles a chance to charge directly toward us, get a hold of us if they have a grab special, and then we're in trouble. Is anyone gonna come down here? The age-old question that I ask during all my regular runs. I try to get enemies to get down here and get pushed over the edge with ricochets. And it never seems to work. Okay, now two of them are here at the same time. Hammerhead just shot past me and into Warthog. Has temporarily saved me. Lured everyone away so I can steal this. Twice. For some reason, the full health respawned immediately, and I grabbed it again. That's probably not going to happen a third time, so I'm going to have to conserve health from here on out. Uh-oh. I had a chance to save myself. I touched the very edge. Ever so briefly. All that turbo. Gone. Higher into the flames. Look at a blind shot. There we go. That was unlucky. Easily avoidable, but the physics of this game continued to baffle me. No matter how much I played it, which is a lot. Follow that corpse down into Antarctica, where things actually start to get quite difficult. Unless, of course, I teleport over to the ice pillar and just hang out there and snipe anyone who comes over. That automatically singles enemies out. And once they're singled out, they're dead. We started extremely far away from everybody, and those homing shots, the freezing shots rather, decided not to home in on me. Mercifully. One of the reasons I disabled the machine gun is because if we were to shoot Warthog while firing specials at him, he would die after 3 specials with a machine gun. Additional damage. Whereas without the machine gun, it takes 4 specials, which is a gigantic difference. Difference of 25%. Maybe even 33%, depending on your perspective. You can have that, Axel. Problem is hitting him while he's doing a special, as it bounces you away. So I more or less got him there, but we didn't get to see it. This background is far too blue for any of that. Oh, I am now likely to game over. Especially when we get to the next level. But also quite possibly here. Driving directly towards a bottomless pit the moment I spawn is not helping. Spectre also would die with 1 fewer special if I could use a machine gun. A lot of enemies would. Grasshopper. Others, presumably. Those are the 3 I remember off the top of my head. And now, we've saved the worst for last. Outlaw is the hardest one to find. Twister has low enough health that she actually dies in 2 specials. No machine guns required. Which is quite lucky. I want to say she has lower health than even Mr. Grimm. Now, on to Holland. 9 enemies versus infinite skulls. Who will win? I don't know who didn't show up. I forget if it's 1 or 2 enemies that don't get to join you in Holland. Or run. Uh-oh. Well, I didn't get killed while I was frozen. At least there's that. Just fire into a big crowd of enemies. Sure to hit something. Nope. Impressive teamwork. So this is obviously quite doable without a game over, but we also expect a certain amount of game overs. Hammerhead has a big skull emblazoned on his own vehicle. Decided that ought to be the only skull in town. Got jealous. Gonna be... And we're ready. If I can go deathless through the entire rest of the game, it'll be as though we never game overed in the first place. Uh-oh. Did not have the screen as my active window. It's always so easy to forget. Sometimes feels like the cooldown rate on firing our specials has variation to it. I'm really just sort of spamming the fire button. Sometimes it will take considerably longer for that special to actually go off. For some reason, Grasshopper ran into Hammerhead instead of me. I almost suspect it made her lose HP. Because she did seem to die from only 2 specials instead of the usual 3. If enemies lose health from arbitrary sources besides me, that does sometimes save us time. Prevent us from having to use one of our skulls. Okay, thankfully Hammerhead decided not to move. And I continue to live. We could actually save the windmills for once, since we have no need to go into them. But we are role-playing as an AI. The AI loves killing the windmills, so 2 must die. Okay, nailed Shadow from a million miles away, and he's dead. Yeehaw. Yeah, we're coming in on the final level within half an hour. We'll be done momentarily. Although I've already invalidated this whole thing by game overing. Probably start from the beginning. Nonetheless, we can imagine what it would look like if I were to do this whole thing without a game over. That's a huge benefit. Outlaw is one of the biggest problems in this level. Since we're killing time, making our way to the inevitable conclusion, I did finally see the most recent trailer for Twisted Metal, the TV show. Last horse crossing the finish line in many ways, because the TV show premieres later this week. And it looks fine. It looks nothing like Twisted Metal. It's so heavily character-driven instead of vehicle-driven. It's ironic. You'd think you'd want the vehicles to do the driving, but no. And the characters are nothing like their Twisted Metal incarnations. Like, in the game, they're like totally dissimilar. There's no overlap in the personalities of any character depicted in the TV show. Except, like, Sweet Tooth, because Sweet Tooth's the only one anyone cares about. Snuck up on by Thumper. Really, it's obvious that the car stuff was too expensive for a TV show. And it is. No TV show in history has ever been able to afford regular vehicular combat segments. And Twisted Metal was certainly going to be no exception. And the dialogue is, at least in the trailer, kind of obnoxious. It's really being carried by the actors, and the actors are fantastic. They cast a really good show. They're getting really good results out of it. Even in like 2 minutes of out-of-context dialogue, I was pretty invested in what the characters were up to. So that's a good sign. I'm sure it'll be a good watch. Won't be very Twisted Metal, but it'll be a thing, and it'll make Twisted Metal more popular, inevitably. And then it'll probably get canceled immediately because there are creative strikes in every single field going on right now. Media is over, as well it should be, because they refuse to actually pay the trillions of dollars they're making. They're constantly bragging about how every single movie they put out sets a new record for highest grossing sales. And then trying not to pay anybody. Not a winning strategy. There we go. On to the bosses. Yeah, I'm glad that everyone's on strike. The fact that Twisted Metal is coming out right when, like, it should be getting renewed and, like, working on another season, but everyone involved in the series is on strike. And that's going to cause problems for the future of that series specifically, and every creative endeavor. 4 Marvel movies are on hiatus, which is another fantastic result of this strike. But we really, really wanted Twisted Metal to get a fair shake, and it probably won't. I've heard about Heroes. At least I think I have. From the last writer's strike in the mid-2000s. Darktooth's flaming head having fun on the street. I'm one to just be happy with what we get. I will willingly take 1 season of Twisted Metal, see what it gets us. Maybe it'll be a tragedy that it doesn't get to continue. Like I said, the cast is amazing. That for me is reason enough to watch it. I've never really seen this behavior out of Darktooth's head, rolling around in the harbor. Darktooth's hitbox is often invisible. You literally can't see it, because the head itself is an attack that it will throw at you. And there we go, about half an hour. Compared to, I won't even say how long it took me to beat it, without infinite specials.
I'm here for my prize,
Shut up, Grimm. That was fun. We can do that, like I said, with every game in the series. I can't currently do it in 2012, but I am seeking means by which I can restore that capability. Because it's all based on a glitch that was patched out of the game. And that was Special Agent Grimm. Honestly, that could have gone way worse. We got the game over, and then didn't die again. Would have been happier to not have gotten the game over, and we wouldn't have if I hadn't accidentally hurled myself off of the building in New York. which was very, very easily avoidable, but I did it anyway. So, that's this run out, and we'll be doing some speed running. I'm going to try out Small Brawl, which is probably going to be the easiest of the games to speed run. Probably by a pretty wide margin. But 1 and 3 were actually kind of difficult, so we're leapfrogging each game in the series so far. We'll come back and clean up the rest when I feel up to it. This week, Small Brawl. Nice and easy. I'm taking it real easy this week. I hope people don't get too pissed off. I'll get pissed off for you. But run's done. Coming back with speed runs. I am Fiendly, and I thank you for watching Twisted Monday.